I am Stephen Yonti, living life to the fullest here where I love to be in the junkyard doing the junkyard crawl in rural Vermont with a 1963 Fairlane Ranch wagon. Now, the Fairlane arrived in 1962 as Ford's senior compact above the Ford Falcon, which arrived in 1960. Now, the Fairlane was a little bit bigger, longer wheelbase, a little more expensive, but offered more options in terms of body styles and engine and also towing capability. This one here has a very interesting tailgate. It reads on the back, Mercury Meteor. You might say, what is that? This is a Ford Fairlane. Well, in Canada, these are sold as Mercury Meteors. And this tailgate came off of a Mercury Meteor. And of course, Vermont and Canada being so close, I'm sure this came off of a salvaged Canadian Mercury Meteor station wagon, which is not a Fairlane, but it kind of is, was put right on this thing because it bolts up, no problem. And again, 1962, with the Fairlane's arrival, was the first year for Ford's mighty 8-inch rear axle, kind of the baby brother of the 9-inch. Looks like a 9-inch pull-out center section, similar design. It'll take 300 horsepower, be gentle, but the 9-inch is a way bigger thing, but it looks similar. But if you ever see one of these things and it's flat on top, flat on the bottom, not rounded, it's an 8-inch. They look like a 9-inch, but they're not the same. Similar family, but again, 62 first year for the 8-inch rear axle. Also used later on into the 1970s under V6 powered Pintos. So it had power to spare, certainly in something like this. So we come around here, and this is a 4-door wagon. 63 was the first year you could actually get a Fairlane 2-door wagon. A handful of built, but this ain't one of them. But kind of cool 2-door wagon. This is the 4-door. And again, the Fairlane was the senior compact, and Fairlanes accounted for 22% of all Ford sales for 1963. So, a very popular model. And again, 2-door and 4-door sedans and hardtops were available. And of course, the 2-door and 4-door wagons. And you can see here, this one was a 3-speed manual and you can see the clutch pedal down low, and the clutch disc was pulled out. The pressure plates right there on the front seat, and rubber floor mat. Very basic car, no carpeting on this one here, just rubber, no amenities here. Under dash AC, which is probably from another car. This thing right here, maybe it's not from this car for sure, but basically the things you find in these vehicles can be as informative and interesting as what is actually bolted to them. And in the back of this thing, a lot of bits and pieces. I see some Chevy 2-piece drive shafts from like an X-frame Chevrolet, some small block Chevy and Ford cylinder heads. Just, basic station wagons make good weather-tight storage units, if you will, in the junkyard. And on this, we do have the warranty plate right here. You see it has the engine is it's a Y, which shows it's an L. So it's a 221 V8, which was in its second possible year. Let's see if it's still here. And of course, being a Fairlane, this has 10-inch drums and 5 lug wheels, whereas the Falcons would have 4 lug wheels and 9-inch drums until 63 with the optional V8. But again, 5 lug wheels on all Fairlanes because they're sort of a senior compact, little bigger car, possibly loaded with more people than a Falcon could have had. So bigger brakes, bigger hubs, bigger suspension parts, including that 9-inch or 8-inch rear axle. And the 8-inch was not used in it was used in certain Falcons, actually, so I'll keep that to myself. But under the hood, nothing right there. Just basically, it's whatever it was is long gone. So the small block, the 221 V8, the L code is Gonzo, would have lived right here. You can see right here, the classic Ford unit construction with the spring towers, coil spring towers right there, the shock sleeve and these things here, these little towers right here. And this is a basic car with manual steering, manual drum brakes, we just saw right there. You can see right here, a tree or something immovable took a punch right there, hit the bumper and the lower frame rail right there. And something kind of cool, these always here, this is the C-Clear windshield washer bag right there, that thing there. It's probably foot operated. It's a vacuum thing, a rubber boot on the floor that you squish on, and it causes that to squirt the windshield, and you turn the wipers on, you clean your windshield. That jiffy, the bag right there is sort of an interesting piece. Almost always intact. There it is. Must have been a tough vinyl, some kind of a plastic, but they never rot or fall apart. At least what I've seen. They're usually still there. So let's go around this side and see what we can learn. And you got to say, 1964 was the year that the Fairlane could be had as the Thunderbolt. Similar styling, but certainly not the same car. And Fairlane right here. And again, Fairlane, that name was used on full-size Fords in the 50s, 57, the Ford Fairlane, Fairlane 500. And Ford would bounce names around from one car to the next. And of course, by this point in time, it was used on the senior compact, no longer on the big full-size cars like in the 1950s and early 60s. And again, 4-door construction sedan, obviously. And these doors do not want to open. They have arthritis. Yeah, not going to go. And a beautiful car, flat windows, no wraparound glass on this thing here. But sort of the last vestiges of tail fins, first seen on the 57 Thunderbird right there, kind of a vestige of that styling. I think a lot of the same stylist, Eugene Bordnat, was part of the Ford design team, and the tail fins on Thunderbirds and probably this were his idea and his execution. Another detail I see on this too is the Mercury Meteor and a specific trim panel right here on the back. It's aluminum stamping, but these little bullets right here are not seen on U.S. Fairlane wagons. Kind of a unique piece. If you're looking for that, it's probably a rare piece. If you have a Canadian Meteor wagon and you want that, you can get in contact with Paul Crozier, who owns this yard, by emailing him at paulcroziervt@gmail.com. Say, hey, Paul, I want to buy that trim panel off that 63 Fairlane Ranch wagon, the one that says Mercury Meteor. I want to buy it. Work a deal with him. Who knows? And this car eventually is going to, go to the way of all cars at some point, to the crusher. Hopefully not too soon, but we'll see. But the glass on this thing is still pretty decent. It's flat glass. It's not delaminating. It's not cracked. A lot of good pieces on this thing. The chrome, the stuff here is still pretty decent. It's aluminum anodized, so it's very polishable and savable. So it'd be a shame to lose it forever to the crusher. The rest of the car, the unibody, the quarters, and the fenders are pretty well shot. Again, rust has consumed this thing pretty badly. The bumper is pretty well gone. The chrome plating is gonzo. And, it's Vermont. What do you want? What can you expect? So if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel. And that's a story about this 1963 Ford Fairlane Ranch wagon. Again, Fairlane Ford Senior Compact in its second model here, right here for 63. Would grow on for the rest of the decade. Fairlane's very popular cars, including the Fairlane 428 Cobras, were a very real thing. And the Torino is a cousin to the Fairlane, same platform. Later 60s, 428 power. So these things grew from strength to strength from year to year as the 60s unfolded. So if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel. If you want to buy anything from this car, again, reach out to Paul Crozier by email at paulcroziervt@gmail.com. Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel. We'll see you tomorrow for more Junkyard Crawl.